Hello, this is Ivy, LaArtista, and I'm coming to you to celebrate the first year anniversary of the Body Love Show. And I decided that this year I wanted to celebrate with the people who've been here with me from the very beginning and who have been such an important part of the first year of the Body Love Show, to get some reflection from them about the year and why they've been here for the journey and what this year has meant to them. So today, as my guest, I have Dr. Ctagon, A.K.A. Mark Applewhite, as my guest. So welcome.
Hey, how are you?
Awesome. It's good to have you here. I want you to give us a little bit of introduction, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
As you know, I'm Dr. Ctagon, short for Ctagon. Well, Ctagon is short for Dr. Ctagon. There are actually two sides to Ctagon. There's Dr. Ctagon, as you know, which is my health and fitness blog. I use that to not only motivate and empower others on their weight loss journey, but I also use it to chronicle the highs and the lows of my own. But there's also Ctagon IT, which is my IT consulting company. We do tech support, consulting, and training for homes and small businesses.
Awesome. So you're definitely in the health and wellness field and in the inspiration field as well. So you can relate to a little bit about what I'm trying to do as far as the message with SBLS. Do you remember how you first heard about See Body Love Self, or like where the message first came to you, or even when we first talked about it?
I've known you since SBLS was just an idea, so I guess you can say I heard about it from you. I don't remember exactly when the idea was brought up, but I remember you telling me about it, and I remember how excited you were about it, and I remember how excited I was to hear about it, because when I think about it, I hear so many people speak about, health, fitness, but you don't hear enough about people's relationships with their bodies. So I remember the idea being really intriguing, and I was looking forward to what came from it. So, yeah, I guess you can say I heard about it from you.
Okay. And when you heard about it from me, and a lot of people have the conception that SBLS is only about women. I've interviewed a couple of other women before you, and we actually had the conversation about how I really wanted the Body Love Self to be an inclusive movement. I wanted it to be inclusive of all races, body types, genders, and so it's important to me that men do feel welcome when it comes to See Body Love Self, because I know that body image is something that men and women are challenged by. Basically, if you have a body, then you can be challenged by having a healthy body image. So throughout this year, as the message has gone out about See Body Love Self, would you say that you feel that it's inclusive of men, or have you personally as a man found it to be helpful to you?
Even though the majority of the people who've been highlighted, I guess, were women, except for me. I was part of your body image celebration month not so long ago. Even though the majority of the messages were presented by women, a lot of it were things I can relate to, especially with regard to eating disorders, bodily conditions. Obviously, men don't deal with PCOS, but just certain conditions, or not liking the way you look in a mirror. Learning to love yourself. It's a thing that men deal with too. Mm-hmm. So in those situations, it doesn't really matter who presents it, because like you said, everybody has a body, and everyone has an image of their body, whether positive or negative. So it's all something we can relate to.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, you were a part of when we did 21 Days of Body Things. And no,
Right.
I'm sorry, when we did my birthday celebration, excuse
Yes.
me. I'm wrong.
I know it was something like that.
I'm not wrong about my own agenda. Yeah, when I had my personal birthday celebration, you were a part of that and you contributed to that. Um, One thing that we did discuss in the interview that I did with Christy, Chatterbox Christy, was that sometimes it seems like men can are a little more reluctant to publicly discuss their body image issues. Have you found that with yourself or with other men that you talk to with your community?
Um, I find that men are reluctant to share. Well, men are reluctant to share a lot of things because, for the most part, we're expected to just be okay. Even from being a child, we've been taught to internalize our feelings, to just be strong, and just snap out of it. Just, in other words, just if you have a bad feeling, pray on it. But as far as like talking about our problems, it's not really something we do. But you'll find that when men get together, if one is brave enough to break the ice, you'll find that a lot of men will come out and say, you know what, I deal with the same thing. And then it creates a dialogue. It's just, we need more men to do it. Men have just as many insecurities as women, if not more. It's just that we're so used to internalizing that, when you're so used to internalizing, we're expected to be okay, and then women don't think to ask because they automatically assume that we're okay. So then we don't end up talking about it, and then either our issues get worse, or they result in anger, or they result in depression, or they just go unresolved, and then it leaves a part of you incomplete.
Yeah, and I think that's an awesome point that you're bringing out is that it actually affects you personally as a man if you're not able to speak about it, but it also affects those who are around you. And so ultimately, with body image, if we're only focusing on one gender, then we're really not healing our community because what affects one of us affects all of us. So, we can't just heal women and not heal the men in their lives, be it their fathers, their brothers, their sons, their husbands. If we're helping them when it comes to body image, health, and wellness, but we're not also including the men in their lives, then we're really not creating a holistic sense of wellness within the community.
Right. And another thing to add to that is, when, especially, women in relationships or women with just the men in their lives, fathers, cousins, brothers, sons, a lot of times, uh, even if you're going through issues of your own, it's like, say, I'm going through something, or I'm having, body image issues. I'd appreciate, I'd appreciate your help. But at the same time, you can turn around and say, you know what, do you deal with the same thing? Sometimes it's as simple as a question, to get a man to open up. Because a lot of times, especially with men, if you don't ask, we won't say.
Wow, that's a really good point, sir. I've never actually even thought about that myself to say, hey, I deal with this. Do you ever deal with that? I think because sometimes as women, we make the assumption that, the body image issues that we go through are only within our gender. So maybe we don't even stop to um, be inclusive with the men in our lives and to ask them, do they ever have body image issues as well? I think sometimes, I know for me as a woman, um, I don't want to be invasive to the men who are in my life, the men who are in my life. I don't want to, I guess, pry too much. But I like the way that you phrased it, where you can just open the door and give them the opportunity to talk. And if they're comfortable, they're able to share.
Right, yeah. And I think a lot of that can also be blamed, on society because a woman's physical appearance is considered so much more important in society, than a male's. With the exception of a few things, like, they say taller men make more money. But outside of that, if a man is balding, if a man is overweight, it tends to have less of an effect on, his financial status, his social status, than, say, a woman. So I think that also contributes to the assumption that men don't really think about their bodies because, to a man, the assumption is that to a man, it's not nearly as important because it's not nearly as frowned upon.
Yeah,
For a man, it's not really as expected for a man to be of a certain size and stature.
those are awesome points. I love how you're just helping us to broaden our perspective and our mindset when it comes to being inclusive with the men in our lives and their body image and their health and wellness. Um, Before we go, I'd love to hear from you how, in any way, See Body Love Self has helped you personally in your own journey throughout this year.
In addition to showing me further examples of others who deal with the same thing, one thing that I've taken from the See Body Love Self message is one, we all deal with it. It's not a matter of how big you are, how small you are, how tall you are, what race you are. We're all in this struggle together, and we can all help each other. Even if we're all going through the same thing, we can all help each other. And
yeah,
it's okay to want to change your body, but no matter where you are, in that phase of change, you should still love yourself. That's one of the main messages that I've gotten from See Body Love Self, and that's one of the biggest things I appreciate about it.
Yes, that's awesome. I appreciate you so much for being here and for giving us that feedback and for enlightening us to say, is there anything that you have going on with Dr. Marthagon and your blogging and your movement that you'd like to share with the audience before we go?
Well, this year is mainly about just what you consider next levels. There's a lot of learning going on. As far as Dr. Marthagon is concerned, hopefully later on this year we're considering, adding some monetary objectives like adding personal training, health coaching, more so from a fitness level than I guess a nutritional aspect. But there will be some nutritional aspects as well. Also, from Marthagon IT, we're looking to get into web design and app development and coding. And and I'm also thinking about ways to marry the two. So, look out for a Marthagon app, hopefully in the near future.
Awesome. Well, hey, we're the ones who got to hear it first. So you were here for the beginning of SBLS, and we get to hear about these ideas first. So we look forward to touching bases with you in the future and seeing what your progression and your success is. I appreciate you so much for being here, and thank you guys for watching.
Thank you. Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Which is my IT consulting company. We do tech support, consulting, and training for homes and small businesses.
Awesome. So you're definitely in the health and wellness field and in the inspiration field as well. So you can relate to a little bit about such an important part of the first year of See Body Love Self, to get some reflection from them about the year and why they've been here for the journey and what this year has meant to them. So today, as my guest, I have Dr. Marthagon, A.K.A. Mark Applewhite, as my guest. So welcome.
Short for Dr. Marthagon. There are actually two sides to Marthagon. There's Dr. Marthagon, as you know, which is my health and fitness blog. I use that to not only motivate and empower others on their weight loss journey, but I also use it to chronicle the highs and the lows of my own. But there's also Marthagon IT.
Hello, this is Ivy, LaArtista, and I'm coming to you to celebrate the first year anniversary of the Body Love Show. And I decided that this year I wanted to celebrate with the people who've been here with me from the very beginning and who have been
Hey, how are you?
awesome. It's good to have you here. I want you to give us a little bit of introduction, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Uh, as you know, I'm Dr. Martagon, short for Martagon. Well, Martagon